weekend's feeling fantastic because we love the vibes. It's Feel Good Fridays here on The Morning Show. We'd like to include you in all of our fun activities and conversations that will definitely get you in a good mood. So play along in our games, laugh with us, and definitely don't forget to tune into our performances from the hottest artists. All of that with myself, Babi Muloy, and my co-hosts, William Lehong and Nelly Siwemape, on The Morning Show from 6 to 8:30 a.m. only on ETV.
Okay.
Right, it's 22 after 7. We are still in the second hour of the Morning Show. Namhlanje kungulwesibili. If you've just joined us, the theme every Tuesday here on the Morning Show is African spirituality. And to that end, Think Tank Tuesday, right? So all the creative things that you can think of and all the spiritual things that you as an African need to be concerned with. To continue this conversation, just picture this for a moment. An official day on the calendar where we celebrate our ancestors. What the Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa is hoping to turn from a dream into reality. Joining us live in studio right now is the Controlesa Secretary General, His Royal Highness Zolani Mkiva, to unpack this for you and I. Molo Dad.
Molo Mhlekazi.
Ngiyaphileka
noko kuhle kunjani?
Dada mina nawe siloku sithethe nje nge-email kodwa ndiyavuka ukubona namhlanje kuseni apha.
Qhamuka baba.
Xa sithetha ngendaba yokuthi i-Ancestors Day, kuwe yayisukelaphi?
Well, to me, isukela from the time we moved into the new dispensation of the South Africa. We felt that we left our ancestors behind.
Right.
The minute we crossed the Rubicon from the apartheid era to the new dispensation. And for me, that is a huge mistake and an oversight because we can't really take our freedom to its logical conclusion of a total emancipation as a people without having communicated to the ancestors. Just the first step that we should have done was to account, because we had a mandate, remember, to pursue our freedom. And once we achieved that date, we should have then went to go and report and give back that account to our ancestors and say, we are now at this point, and this is the direction that we wish to take. So it goes without saying now, 27 years later, that we have had all the problems that we are manifesting, that we are experiencing.
Yeah.
And we can't find closure in a number of things. And the country is beginning to zigzag left, right, and center without ensuring that we stand together. We can't stabilize. That instability, the causality is very clear, is that we have left our ancestors behind. And I think time has come for us to go back to that reality and then go back and communicate in a very respectful manner and say to them, we are now at crossroads. We need you more than ever. And we think that it is not going to be just an event. This must be a process.
Yeah.
And hence,
ongoing.
It must be based on annuity. That come that time of the year, all of us, as South Africans, as Africans in particular, we need to say, when the sun rises, we would have already communicated with our ancestors at a particular point.
And this is very poignant because last Ngoguti, our freedom, 27 years later, a lot of people had to lay down their lives, literally, for this freedom to be gained as a country, as a people, and as humans and as Africans, right? I imagine, who are saying, listen guys,
you are touching a very important point. The first people who lost their lives, who their blood was spilled, are the very ancestors that we're talking about. You will recall that the wars of dispossession and the wars of resistance were fought by those gallant warriors who are our ancestors, our forefathers, our forebears.
Yes.
They are the ones that we are referring to today. That it is them who laid their blood for us to achieve what we have achieved today. And therefore it is important, therefore, that we can't forget them. You know, I said in 1994, on the 10th of May, when I was asked by the journalists that what do you say about this day? I said, the people who led the struggle and the charge against the colonialists and were in the forefront as commanders were the royalty, were traditional leaders. And to me, it was therefore no coincidence that the first president of a democratic dispensation, the first president of a liberated South Africa, was also a royal-blooded son of Africa in Nelson Mandela. That is not a coincidence. It was a spiritual connection. But we did not use that opportunity from there on going forward to say that this is not just an accident. It is a connectivity between that ancestor that started the revolution and this living ancestor in Nelson Mandela, who assumes the highest office of the land at a critical juncture as we cross the Rubicon. And I therefore think that it is important that from time to time, we will have to do what we have not done going forward. At least now that we are identifying an opportunity for us to say, let's anoint a particular day in the calendar of Africa as an ancestor day. It is a step in the right direction, and then we can build on that.
That makes sense. I mean, masithetha ngendaba ye-execution, logistically speaking, right? You are advocating for a particular day in the calendar. Some things are commemorated over a weekend. It's a 3-day thing. It's a 2-week period. How do we then, logistically, as a country, as a people, honor our ancestors in a particular day? Would it be over one day? Would it be over a weekend? Would the moon calendar be taken into account and things like that? Like Ramadan, where they follow the moon cycle, or Good Friday, they follow, there's a whole list of things that come into and inform just the one day. So how would we, in terms of execution?
Well, from where I'm seated, we are a spiritual people. And the spiritual connection between ourselves and the ancestors is a day-to-day occurrence. It's not something that happens only ceremonially. But what we are talking about is that as a collective, as Africans, all of us on that particular day, we must speak from one voice and pay particular attention to the detail as we converse and communicate with our ancestors. And therefore we'll anoint a single day to do that as a collective. Because it will be so powerful. When people talk about power, they talk about the numbers game. So when we speak with one voice in one day, in that particular anointed day, then definitely our ancestors will listen to us and they will bless us and they will give us all the wisdom that we will be asking for from them. Yes.
I wish we had more time. There's obviously a lot to still unpack, and I'm going to invite you back on the show so we can talk about how do we then move forward. Now that we've started this conversation on the morning show, who do we need to get in to have the conversation with to really see things from our perspective and maybe help them see the light?
We need everybody. We need to impact in the main to the young people, the youngsters of our country, the youth of our nation. And we're going to take this right throughout the continent, including our people in the diaspora. Because we are talking about Africans in Africa and Africans beyond Africa. All of us, we must speak in the single voice. But as they say, dynamos come in small packages. We will start here. The revolution can begin by us, the two of us. But in the final analysis, we must rope in everybody to be part and parcel of this. This is going to be a journey, and we must journey together and ensure that we achieve the total liberation of Africa and achieve our own spiritual liberation, the liberation of the mind, the liberation of our spirit. And once we have achieved that stage, and I can tell you, my brother, that everything that we will touch will turn into gold.
I like that. Thank you so much for your time this morning. His Royal Highness Zolani Mkiva, talking to you about the idea and premise of Ancestors Day that you and I as Africans need to put in a calendar year. Where do we start? That's the conversation we've just had, and it's an ongoing one. We're taking a quick ad break. We'll be back with your news at the bottom of the hour. Do stay with us.